can do that. And here we go. Guys, I'm so excited. I'm at the Moxie Hotel in downtown St. Pete and our new sponsor for the podcast for the WOFB, where we flourish in life. I am your host, Cameron Matheny, principal of Cameo Studio Designs, founder of the CEU designer Dopamine. Guys, this podcast in this space today, the energy is so electric. We're in hurricane season and ready to have a hurricane. So if there's lots of noise, just ignore it. Keep listening. Today's episode is so hot. I am so excited to be talking with Erica from E&G Construction. Wait till you guys hear about her story. But first, this podcast is presented by the WOFB and sponsored by Cameo Studio Designs and Laticrete. Speaking of Laticrete, let's shine a spotlight on Laticrete. If you are a DIY enthusiast, contractor, or tile experts, today Laticrete brings quality and innovation. So if you're planning your next tile project, tackling a big renovation, ensure a successful installation each and every time with the most comprehensive assortment of innovative tile, stone installation materials available, not just in the US, guys, worldwide. They are industry leaders from products with complete system solutions from the substrate all the way through virtually any type of product. So look no further for your adhesives, your grouts, and waterproofing needs, but also the reps. You guys, I did an all-female installation MVP flooring project where that rep hung out with us. When our drill caught fire, they were there to help us mix and go through the entire process. Truly, truly a support system, right? So today is another episode to kick off season 3 about breaking boundaries, women shaping the future of our industry, women who are innovative, not only in the tile industry, design industry, lighting industry, construction industry, but how we are pushing limits to make things of knowing what is possible, leading areas in sustainability, design, technology, and business growth. My perspective as a commercial tile installer, project manager to lighting designer, I see this all the time, how we are exploring unique ways of leadership and how we are driving change in a traditionally male-dominated industry. So what the future looks like for our perspective and all of the interviews that we have for this season is super exciting, but the evolution of industry standards and integration in our installation, new trends through showroom design, and so much more. Today on this episode, though, I am so excited to bring to the stage Erica with E&G. I'm thrilled that she is the owner, not co-owner, but owner of E&G Builds, an accomplished leader in the building industry with extensive expertise and a proven track record to project management and design. Erica has been an instrumental in driving innovation and fostering sustainability practices in a traditionally male-dominated field. And she has successfully led numerous high-profile projects, blending creativity with a commitment to environment consciousness. Erica's leadership and passion for reshaping the industry make her a powerful voice for change and a true trailblazer, which I love in the world of construction. So join us as we dive in with this episode. Erica, welcome to the WOFB podcast.
Yes, I feel like I need to stand up and be like, yay! Like that was like an awesome intro. I feel like, oh my gosh, I did that. So no, I am super excited to be here and praying for you guys. Y'all have a lot going on in St. Peter's right now. Like Cat 4, like barreling, she is coming. She is a witch on wheels.
Girl, she is. Well, you know, one of my female contractors, her name is Joy. I love her. She's lived here for about 25 years. And she posted, I think it was either yesterday or this morning, and it gave me hope, but she posted about how this land that we're on was really a Native Indian preservation and how it was like blessed. And every hurricane, knock on wood, has bypassed our little island of St. Pete. So hopefully for us and many more, it does bypass and breaks up as it hits land. I come from Chicago, so I don't know what to expect at all. I'm just hoping for the best.
So I'm from Louisiana, so we go through these all the time. We just had one 2 weeks ago. Now, Francine was not as extensive as what Helene is, but I'm praying for you guys. It's going to be good. Hope this boss babe of a hurricane just kind of takes a little hook for y'all, so it misses you.
Same. So, well, thank you for that. Let's dive into who you are. I know, about kind of your success of where you are currently, but how did you get started in construction? Give us a little background.
So it really is what I call dream story. So I went to college and was very well educated and went for 3 years and then flunked out. I went and partied. I did the whole thing. We live here in Louisiana. It's our culture here, and flunked out. Well, then I met my husband through that transfer and we moved to Arkansas. Fast forward, we've lived in Arkansas. I worked for a company there that taught me like the foundation of business. I was very young and they took a chance on me. Then we had some family stuff come up, so we moved back to Louisiana. When we got back here, I decided I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to finish what I started. At this point, I was a mother. I'd already had a son, and I didn't know what that was going to look like. My husband was working for waste management at that time, doing logistics and operations, and I was taking 18 and 22 hours a semester just to finish so that I thought that I could do what my dream job was, which was to go into business and human resource. Long story short, I get hired by this oil and gas company. I work there. I have the most amazing bosses. And I had a CEO that was a male, and I had the vice president, which her name is Laura, and Laura was a female. And she gave me the flexibility to be as creative as I wanted to be. And I thought I was going to be there forever. Well, as a mom, we have that guilt, right? Where we're like, oh my gosh, I'm missing things. I'm not going to be there. So I started coming home and I said, I need to do something different. What can I do? And I loved everything about what you do. I love the design. I loved picking out tile. I love looking at lighting. And I would always drag my husband to the Parade of Homes here just to go look at stuff. And it really was one night laying in the bed. And I said, I want to start my own construction company. And he was like, we've never even built a house. Like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to build houses. It's my passion. I love it. And if I'm going to do anything, it has to be something that I'm passionate about. And then when I started looking into it, there were not very many female-owned construction companies. So sure enough, 1 year after that, after the whole like building the business plan and the modeling and all that, we jumped feet first in, and I did it on my own. For 3 years, I built a residential custom home company, construction company, all on my own. And then when I think it was when COVID hit that year, my husband took a severance package because we were growing, and he came on. And so now we do co-own it together, and we do residential and commercial.
That is so exciting. What an empowering story for you to share, because I know, I read the Facebook groups through the WFB. I talk to women every day, all day long. And I know that there's someone out there who is laid in that exact bed, staring at the ceiling at 3 o'clock in the morning, not knowing what they want to do. And they take that leap. And as an entrepreneur.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and as an entrepreneur, I always tell people 3 things about me. I'm unemployable. I'm an HR nightmare. And I love to take a risk. And you have to have that. There has to be a little bit of a stiffness about us, because when things are slow in construction, it's peaks and valleys. And when things are slow in construction, that gives me such a drive and a motivation to push. What can I do? What's next? What's this? What's that? Never, ever stopping. So I love that you brought that up, because I know that there's someone out there.
No, and if they're out there, there was a fear that came with that, like laying in the bed and like actually, like you said, like jumping to take that risk. We drained everything. We drained my husband's 401k to start the business with 0 debt. because that was my fear. If this is going to fail, we can't be in debt and then have to like figure life out. I don't want to lose everything. But we drained his 401k, and I looked at him and I said, I won't let it fail. I won't let it fail. The hardest part for, I think, a lot of females that are listening today, hear me when I say the guilt of not being there or the grind that it's going to take is the biggest pressure point and pain point. But if you can decide how to put those boundaries up and start with a good foundation, then you can be all of those things. Because a lot of people get into business for freedom and money. And what they don't realize is that neither one of those things come very quickly. The freedom is not freedom, I tell everybody. It's flexibility. You have flexibility. You don't have freedom yet. Then
or they do come very quickly, and they love that. And then like things happen. And then when things get into that dip, as we all know, that's what construction does. There's peaks and valleys. There's lag times. There's commercial. There's 30-day nuts. There's 40-day nuts. There's walkthroughs, punch, all of these things that have variables that you're a true entrepreneur when you can get through those valleys, because it's not all rainbows and sunshine all the way through. And so when you can get through those moments, and you have to be realistic and know that. And I love what you said is like, you knew that like, this was your boundary. This is what you wanted to set. You have to have also, not only in addition to that, but those systems in play, systems and processes. You gotta have them.
So
especially in control.
I'm an open book. When people ask me to come on their podcast, there's nothing that's off limits. And the one thing that you brought up that I think is imperative for people to realize is that we just had our slowest year since we started our company. We're a $4 million company. In 4 years, we're a $4 million company. And this past year was our slowest year. Interest rates were 8.5%. I live in a state where we saw flood insurance triple. So when you add that on top of a mortgage, people that are building $500 to $2 million houses, they start pressing the brakes. I tell everybody, if we wouldn't have had the systems and the processes and the hard foundation that I started from the very beginning of knowing when to save, when to spend, profit first mentality, we would have gone out of business. We went almost 7 months without a signed contract. Now I have an investment company. I have my Boss Babe coaching group. So there's other lines of revenue that come in. But if I was only a construction company, 7 months, no cash flow. How do you make it? You are so speaking to the choir here, because a lot of people say to me, Cameron, you do commercial tile installation, you run those projects, you're a lighting designer, you're this podcast, all of these things, right? And I tell people this, like, I'm so grateful, because people will say, oh, well, you're a jack of all trades, master of none. Not true. The part of that I love, though, is because, I transitioned from Chicago, where business is always booming. I always have great installers that I can find, to a state like Florida. This year, I had $7.3 million out in commercial bids starting December of last year. We are just signing our first one, and we had to fight tooth and nail because of the labor that we are against companies, installers, GCs hiring people just out of Home Depot parking lots with no expertise, because they will install at $1.75 a square foot. At crazy a cheaper rate. That's right. That's right.
So cheaper rate, quality, don't even care. For me, I can't do it. I cannot do it. So you're speaking to the choir on that. But needless to say, we just landed all of the Aldi contracts in the state of Florida. As you know, Aldi's was bought out all the Winn-Dixie's grocery stores.
Yes. You need to come to me. We have like 4 Winn-Dixie's here. Come see me. Come see me.
So needless to say, can you talk a little bit about, you talked a little bit about what drew you to the field, but as a woman in a male-dominated industry, what challenges did you face early on in your career, and how did you overcome that? My
favorite one to tell, and I laugh because when I put my foot down on something, I never look back. The rearview mirror is for a reason. And so when I decided that I was going to go into construction, we got our license, we were ready to go. I walk into the first vendor and I asked to speak to the manager because I needed a credit line for lighting. I obviously was going to build houses. I needed a credit line somewhere for a 30-day net. She says, oh, well, you can fill out this application. I said, yes, but can I please talk to someone? Because I really want to make that personal relationship for long term. The manager comes out and he says, so how long have you been building houses? And I said, well, I just got my license. I said, but we already have anticipated 2 contracts on our books. So you haven't built anything. And I said, no, sir. I said, but I would like to make the relationship. He said, I can give you $1,000 on your line of credit. And it has to be a 10-day net.
Ooh, you're going to buy some light bulbs with that.
Thank you. I said, no, thank you. And I went somewhere else. To this day, I have never walked back into that lighting company. They have called me. They have asked to have meetings with me because my next stop, I walked in and it was at the lumber yard. And I met with the owner of my lumber yard and he took a chance on me. My credit line for a lumber package was over $200,000 for this first house. And it was on a 30-day net. And he shook my hand and he said, I will help you in whatever way I can and make relationships for you because I believe in you. And that's all it took. It took one person because when that door got slammed, I was like, oh, this is going to be a long freaking road if this is how this is going to go. But I didn't take no for an answer. And so I think that was my driving force. When they told me no that day, it was more like, well, then watch me. Oh, and now you can watch me 5 years later because I'm not coming back.
Right. Yeah.
Because
and that's super important. It is. It's hard, but I love that you said that. I have so many similar stories of things like that have happened. And you can imagine as a lighting designer, whenever I went to the tile industry 6 years ago, and I was like, I want to put LED in grout joints, that they looked at me like I had 3 eyes. And so people, and still to this day, still kind of do that kind of stuff, but I never stop. And that is the key, is that you never stopped. And I think that is like, guys, coin that hashtag never stop because you can't. When person says no, does not mean, they said no for reasons that were probably of their own, issues. Who knows?
What I tell people is that they say no, and that's on them, but it's on you at that point to still continue to be successful because there are ways. There is somebody that's going to do it. I couldn't even afford an attorney to review contracts when I first started. I told you I only had so much money out of a 401k to get this thing off the ground. And I had to build a website. I had to get business cards, like all those things that are they weren't free and easy to make on Canva and stuff like they are now.
Right.
Like, I paid someone thousands and thousands of dollars and the money was getting low. And I kept telling my husband, it's going to work. It's going to work. Somebody's going to believe in me. I walked into my attorney's office. He was a gentleman that I went to high school with. And I said, if you review these contracts for me and make sure that they're solid, I will use your title company for every closing from now until I go out of business.
Oh my gosh.
And he shook my hand and he said, no problem. Reviewed my contracts. He still reviews my contracts. But guess what? We still use him every closing for our clients. And our clients get a discount because we did that partnership too.
So you have that relationship built.
Yes, I was just about to say leveraging. Leveraging is how you keep moving. Leveraging partnerships, relationships is what keeps the clock moving.
And I love that you say that because with every person that I talk to, I did an interview several weeks back with Georgia Ezra, who is Ezra Tiles out of, they are in Australia. And I'm sharing with her about how, I have this tile design that I want to do LED integrated into it. And she's like, sure, whatever you need. Like all of the resources of just people that never stop. And those relationships are imperative. They're so important because you never know where one conversation can take you. So the fact that you have a conversation with that attorney, you were able to build that partnership, able to build that relationship. that is gold. I mean, you need someone like that more than you know. And even to put in all of your contracts for your subcontractors, for your laborers. I mean, you have a lot at stake. So those details of that paperwork, good for you. I'm so glad that you have an attorney you trust.
Yes, multiple. We have multiples.
Yeah, you have to sometimes, right? So tell me about leadership and industry evolution, and what leadership strategies do you think are necessary for a woman to thrive in construction and building? So talk to me about that.
For me, it's about being authentic. I never wanted to come out and be somebody that I wasn't, because then that's exhausting trying to keep that up. So some days when I started, I was out on the job site. I was in my hot pink rubber boots, walking around, gaining relationships with my subcontractors, letting them know that, like, I might not be able to lay that trim like that, but I know how it needs to be laid. And then that turned into making relationships with like home builder associations and getting on the board and gaining the respect there, meeting people that are on like the Louisiana State Licensing Board and making those relationships, because it was hard. Like I said, I had never built anything. So I had to put myself in rooms with people that I could soak up all of their knowledge so that then I could give it out to my clients, to my employees, because then I was hiring employees at that time. I had to make sure that I had the confidence to be able to speak the language, the lingo. It's kind of the same way I would assume in the flooring. If you would have come into the flooring or the lighting industry and didn't know the lingo or didn't know any of the vendors to use, they would know that you were a newbie. I needed to sound confident in what I was selling and what I was building for people to then entrust me. It's that know, like, and trust that people want to have. And so when I talk to other women that want to start any businesses, I tell them, educate yourself on your niche. If your niche is whatever it is, tile or lighting, know what you're going to sell, and then find and know what your vision is. What are you driving to? I know what I'm driving to in 1-year goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals. And when I get there and I meet them, we need to be setting new goals. And so the confidence of knowing what that looks like and just educating, my favorite thing to do is educate, because no one educated me. Like, I had to figure this shit, on my own. On my own. And there were thousands of dollars wasted doing that. And so put yourself in a room with people that have already done it. It doesn't mean that the way they're doing it is right, but you can learn from them and ask questions. What mistakes did you make? And if they tell you none, they're a liar. If they tell you what the mistake was, soak it up and figure out how you don't make the same mistake. And that's what I've done. I have put myself in rooms with men, because obviously they're the majority, and asked them, what was the biggest mistake that you've made? What's the biggest pain point that you've seen? And tell me, so that then I'm not making that same mistake. I might make my own mistake somewhere else, but I'm not going to make that mistake. So educate yourself.
That's so important. And, I remember like in the very beginning of education and educating people in the tile industry about lighting, because people just didn't get it. And now I have a CEU that teaches about that education. And that's the only reason why I bring that up, is it's not because I want the CEU for people to give to. It's a pain in the neck, honestly, to do all of the training for that. I want people to know how to really, truly use lighting in tiled spaces, because it's a science, just like it is to building, just like it is for business, just like it is to operate day to day. I'm not a tile installer, so I'm not going to teach about that, but I'm going to teach you about what I'm passionate about, because it's so important. Business is one. And so I hear that in your voice. So I think that that's super, super important. It actually makes me, I think it's a great segue to tell me about Boss Babes.
So that is my little newborn child, because again, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm never satisfied. I'm constantly striving for more. So I came up with Boss Babe Consulting because as I started going to all these conventions, as I started sitting in more masterminds, as I started talking to local community business owners, their pain points were things that are so simplistic, but that's not what they're worried about. And so my evolution came to, I want to take women in any industry and elevate them, empower them, educate them on how to do their startups and how to scale their businesses. And that goes all the way from personal motivation. I have an ebook that I wrote called Imperfect Confidence. It's a 7-chapter ebook that goes through setting your boundaries from the very beginning and how to go from not having confidence about your personal self to being confident to then roll into the imperfect business. And that was the second ebook that I wrote. And when I did that, I was like, these are things that companies could actually learn from. And so Boss Babe Consulting is a workshop-based educational workshop. That's basically all it is. Yes, you can pay me for one-on-one coaching. Yes, you can pay me for online live coaching. Yes, we do all those things. But my passion is doing a one-day workshop, helping businesses, female-owned primarily, going from foundation of what's your mission? What's your vision? What are your core values? And then also setting up all of those SOPs and KPIs, contracts, and how you get there. Then once you get there, we can set up marketing plans for you, marketing strategies for you, and also helping women get financing. It's hard. It's hard. If you don't know, it's hard.
Right. Now, here in Tampa, in my business in Chicago, so I'm a WBEC in Chicago, Michigan, and in Florida. And through the Small Business Association, do you have SBDC where you have like Million Cups and things like that, where there's programs and funding? Because that's how my business originally got started, was through a women's funding for as a minority owned business. So I'm curious, do you offer those resources as well?
So Louisiana does, but it's a little bit harder to get approved through the SBA. So the SBA typically we have a small business development group here through LSU and through SLU, which are the two colleges here. And they can help you write your business plan and then associate and help you do your funding. You can also get some grants as a female-owned business. SBA is a low interest loan that you can get, but sometimes they have some really quirky financing things that are underlying. Like you might have a flexible interest rate on that. Well, hello, we just went through a huge spike. So budgeting for that is kind of hard if you're a smaller business. But there's also other ways that we bring to the table for the workshop. We bring in lenders that are local lenders that have an open line of credit, that they also try to work with minorities, whether it's women or Hispanic or anything like that, that they come speak to the groups too, so that then you have other alternatives. But yes, SBA is something that we do lean to because it's lower interest, but sometimes depending on what that credit looks like and what your assets are, it's a little bit harder and it's a little bit longer of a process to get approved. If you wanted to open up a business tomorrow, you're not getting approved by SBA tomorrow. It's a little bit longer. Right. So it's a little bit longer of a process. So we try to get partnerships and banks, local banks in town that are also in other states to partner with some of my females.
That's great. Guys, speaking of partnerships, I have to just give a shout out real quick to the Moxie Hotel here in St. Petersburg. They are located at 1234 Central Avenue in downtown St. Pete. This hotel is so chic. It is so cute. They have so many amazing fun meeting spaces. There's a rooftop pool. It is just so Florida. It's pink. It's bright. The vibe here is just amazing. So you guys have to check out moxie.com or #@themoxie. So today, this is a safe haven for many people that we are expecting the hurricane. So again, all of that noise out there, that is what's going on. But just a shout out to moxiehotels.marriott. So if you're traveling, guys, check it out. So as I'm talking to Erica, she just finished up her spiel about Boss Babe Consulting. I cannot wait. Sign me up. I want to be a part of that. So before I let you go today, I am truly interested to know what advice would you give a young woman, this is your jam, I know it, but what advice would you give a young woman aspiring to enter the building industry? And then what excites you about the building industry looking ahead?
So I'll start with what excites me. It's ever changing. It's ever changing. You go through color palettes that are changing, design ideas that are changing, and I'm creative. So it keeps me enthusiastic about every day. Not every day is the same. And since we build custom houses, there's no design that's the same. Every tile pattern is different. Every light is different. And so that's truly exciting. So find something that you're passionate about that's exciting, because it's not a job then. It's not a job. This is my passion. So my leaving words today are my favorite quote. If you dream it, then you can build it. And let's do it.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Well, I hope that I get to work with you at some point. Girl, if you need any kind of really crazy lighting design, you come find me. I will give you some really great tips, and going to all of the trade shows and seeing what's innovative and the new things that are coming up for 2026 already. They're putting out there some of these crazy applications where everything is like solar powered. You know, I always talk to people about going from how we went from a light bulb to now LED integrated into everything. And there's just some really cool things that are moving and grooving out there. So I'm so excited that I got to learn about Build with E&G today and Girl Boss Consulting. Such an inspiration and an impact for our community. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. And here's your personal invite to my podcast, which is called Escapes. And it is women power driven just as well, of course. So I would love to have you come and talk about all of your inspiration and all of your lighting and all of the cool things, because that is just right up my alley. So I would love to have you, Cameron.
Send me an invite whenever, as long as I don't get blown away from this hurricane.
No, I'm praying for you guys. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. Y'all are going to be good. So,
well, accolades to you. Keep doing what you're doing. I can't wait to hear more about Girl Boss Consulting, and I cannot wait to get that invite to be on your podcast. That is so exciting for me. So thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
I'll catch you next time then.
Yes, ma'am. Have a blessed weekend.
All right. You as well. Bye-bye. Guys, imagine products that not only meet and exceed the toughest industry standards with third-party certifications to back them up. With Laticrete, you get peace of mind and solutions that are designed to stand the test of time. That's the Laticrete promise, which we love. You all know, as I continue to talk about the innovation, the SpectraLock, we've used those on all of our projects, commercial and residential, premium grouts, which provide superior color, uniformity, and durability with the ease of cleaning. If you're all about Laticrete, go to laticrete.com to explore their full range of installation solutions, find detailed how-tos, and access their extensive resource library. So laticrete.com. Also, if you're looking for a CEU for your design space or showroom, please visit cameostudiosdesigns.com for that CEU for designer dopamine. Also, I would like to thank womenflooring.com. Without them, the WOFB community of women in flooring, tile, stone, building, design, architect, lighting, none of this would be possible. So if you are looking at becoming a sponsor, please go to podcast@womenflooring.com. We would love to talk all about your company on our podcast. So be sure to check out that sponsorship. Also, be a part of the conversation through WOFB on womenflooring.com. We have book clubs, there's mentorships, there's some really exciting things that are happening where we continue to support one another. So until the next time, guys, thank you so much for tuning in.